What are effective interventions for dyslexic children? And how do we best think about providing interventions? Many of you ask, what is a realistic expectation? The expectation should be that a dyslexic child will become a reader. And it is especially important that the dyslexic child should know this too. At the same time, most often for a dyslexic child learning to read is not a sprint, but a marathon. Like a marathon, the reward at the finish line is profound relief, matched with a strong, newfound sense of empowerment, a feeling within the child that he can conquer any obstacle. I have witnessed scores of hardworking, bright, dyslexic young men and women transform into readers who may even turn to books and magazines for pleasure, who are not put off by reading materials that are part of their work, and who continue on to the highest levels of education and succeed in their careers and professions and in life. The approach for teaching a child with dyslexia to read is consistent with what science tells us about teaching all children to read. All children must master the same elements of reading. The child must solve the two parts of the reading puzzle, one involving spoken language and the other written language. To solve the first part of the puzzle, each would-be reader must begin to understand that spoken words come apart and that they are made up of very small bits of language called phonemes. The development of this insight about words is called phonemic awareness. Once a child appreciates that spoken words can be pulled apart into distinct sounds, he is ready to take the next big step, and that is figuring out how printed letters link to these sounds. For example, knowing that the first sound of the spoken word sat, s, is represented by the letter S, and the final sound, t, by the letter T. And then one day he solves the puzzle. He makes the critical insight that the written word sat has the same number and sequence of sounds, s, a, t, as the spoken word sat, and that the letters represent these sounds. He has broken the reading code. The child has mastered the alphabetic principle. He is ready to read. Why is this insight so critical? What does it allow the child to do and to go forward? This step is very important because once a child knows the code, printed words are no longer a mystery. He has a strategy. He knows how to link the letters to the sounds they represent, and then to blend the sounds together to read the word. He applies his knowledge of how letters relate to sounds to analyze and to read more and more unfamiliar words. This is referred to as decoding. The better and better a child gets at decoding words, the more accurate his reading becomes. A child who knows how to sound out printed words is freed from having to memorize every word he wants to be able to read. Sounding out words allows him to unlock the mystery of reading and to read words he has never before seen. To reiterate, the initial goal is to draw the child's attention to the sounds of language. Here, a major focus is to help a child to develop phonemic awareness. That is, the ability to notice, to count, to identify, and to manipulate the tiniest particles of language making up words. Many consider this the most difficult task in learning to read, the foundation of all subsequent reading and spelling instruction. Always keep in mind that we are teaching phonemic awareness, not as an end in itself, but because of its central importance in helping a child understand the relation of letters to sounds and ultimately to become a reader. Teaching children that words are made up of individual sounds involves, as a first step, teaching children that words rhyme. Tuning into rhymes sensitizes very young children to the fact that words come apart. For example, to know that the words fig and jig rhyme, a child must attend to just a part of each word, the ending, ig, ig. After getting to know rhymes and developing the sense that words have parts, children are ready for the next big step on the road to reading, taking words apart and putting them back together. Pulling apart a word into its sounds is often referred to as segmenting. Pushing sounds together to form a word is called blending. These are the two key processes involved in learning to read and to spell. In spelling, a child segments the spoken word into its sounds and transforms each sound into a letter. In reading, the letters are converted into sounds, which are then blended together to form the word.
One of the things that I have been able to learn during this time of learning how to pronunciate words, it's sounding them out using my fingers, like bat, bat. Like it's breaking it down in a way that I don't have to memorize words. That's one of the things that's been like one of the biggest groundbreaking experiences that I've learned so far during my tutor time. I don't have to try to memorize a word. I can actually break it down and sound out each letter. And it's been so emotional. I've literally cried in every session, literally cried in every session. Being able to just sound out words. It's been amazing.